Oh, baby, another week down, another week of training camp, and another week sitting in with my man, Matty Kiwoom, talking about all of it. Matty,
Yeah, yo.
Byron from Roster Watch went to Tampa Bay camp this weekend. We've got notes from Arizona. We've got notes from Vegas. There's notes from, of course, Dallas, because why wouldn't Jerry want to be in the news? Um, I don't know where Micah wants to go, but it would be pretty maniacal to see him play in Detroit or Pittsburgh or something like this. Do we want where do we want to start, or do we want to start out with the fact that I could get on a little bit of a soapbox here
Yo, please
because
do.
Matty Kiwoom is out here tweeting trying to get Joe Ryan from the Twins every single day, and the one player the Twins don't trade is Joe Ryan, and the Twins trade away the whole roster again, which is something that I've been used to literally since I was a kid, 2003. I mean, I remember when it was Shannon Stewart and Jock Jones and Jason Bartlett and Nick Punto and all these names I could just Johan Santana and boom, they're gone. Trade them. See you. Go to Tampa. Go to Washington. Hey, Brian Dozier, you want to go play for the Nationals? Hey, David Ortiz, you want to go play for the
Brian
Red Sox?
Dozier.
Let's just keep going. Name one after another. Trade them all away because we don't want to win. That's what that is about. So they trade away 10 guys. That's my little mini soapbox for baseball.
I can't believe you did that to me right now. I can't believe that this is of all the things that are happening in the football world, you want to hit me right there. Right between the old short and high. I mean, it's just come on, dude. Listen, I was not expecting the Red Sox to make big moves. They didn't. But then a couple of false tweets from MLB on Fox and Yahoo Sports just sent me and the rest of the Red Sox Nation to an absolute tizzy because we thought we were getting Joe Ryan. Now, here's the real thing. I'm going to a Red Sox game on Sunday. I'm thinking about wearing my Joe Ryan jersey and just be an ultimate troll.
Did you see the athletic report this morning?
I had based on what? What are they talking about?
So it wasn't like a report as much as it was just like a story. It said like a day after 8 players were traded, Joe Ryan and the Twins take stock. It's just sobering. And he was like talking about like hanging out with like Bailey Ober and all these different guys. And who's the other guy in the pen that they traded? Um,
Varlin,
all,
Jax.
all of them. I mean, there's like Jack.
Those
There's like a
those
10
would
of
be
them.
the guys that he came up the whole he like Joe Ryan was developed with those kids.
Yeah.
Those kids were former starters. So
He,
those are probably his boys.
he was saying how he was hanging out with Jax, and then they went from like a thought of like, oh, I'm gonna get traded, like Joe Ryan's gonna get traded, to it being like, and Jax was like, I'm not, and then it just completely pivoted, and Jax got traded and Joe didn't, and they were like, we don't even know what's happening. So
Right.
then Duran getting traded pissed me off. I don't even like, you know this, like I've detached myself from the Timberwolves. I've detached myself from the Twins, like for the last 20 years, and like the Timberwolves, with Anthony Edwards, I still have like a little bit of I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But I'm like back in because of him. And the Twins, I thought when they spent on Correa, I was like, all right, they're spending on Correa. They're
They
gonna they're
yeah.
gonna try. No,
It lasted for 18 months or
a
whatever.
year and a half.
Yeah.
We don't want to pay that whole contract. Why would we want to do that?
Oh, you want to take all of it? All right. Take it. Aren't
Anyway,
they selling, right? Isn't that what happened? They're selling. That's what the rumor was up here, that because they're selling the team, they wanted to clear the decks, get everything off the books.
oh yeah, make your team
They
worth nothing. There you
did.
go. Good call. Hopefully, A-Rod buys them, just like he bought the Timberwolves. That'd be a best case scenario. Doubt it happens.
That'd be
But
epic.
anyway, that's enough for the baseball folk. I'll put a timestamp in here so that people can skip past it. If they don't want to talk about baseball. Maddie, congratulations on having a better franchise than Minnesota has in baseball. Football. So I'll start with this just because this is easy. I just posted it up on Roster Watch because Byron was down in Tampa for Tampa Bay Buccaneers training camp. That's our first training camp tour stop, August 1st. I'll be off to a couple of camps in the next 2 weeks. I'll be at the Vikings camp this week when I go home. And he came away with his first sentence away from the Tampa Bay camp was, Emeka Egbuka looks like Steve Smith and Jamar Chase in a sense that he's rocked up, he's ready to play, he's built to do it tomorrow. And he's like, but he didn't get targeted like Jamar Chase.
There it is. I mean, that is in a nutshell what to expect from Ekbuka. And there's not many people on the planet that are bigger Ekbuka guys than I was
Yeah.
throughout the entire scouting process. And of the receivers drafted, including Tet McMillan, hell, even included Travis Hunter, you could see a world in which Egbuka is ready to go fresh out the package more than anybody, based on Brian Hartline and what OSU's done, how long he was in college, the reps he's gotten, the high leverage reps, the high value reps, all of it. It's all there. And I'm glad he's looking good. I'm glad he's settling in the Chris Godwin role if Chris Godwin isn't ready or if he gets out again. But Mike Evans is still there. There's still going to be a hierarchy in the passing game that Egbuka can't catapult to the top right off the bat, no matter what he looks like. And I think that is the expectation: is don't ride the wave too high in terms of the redrafts that are about to kick off, but be very happy to get him and be very happy to take him in your rookie draft if they haven't happened yet in your top 8, because he's the role's there. Like you said, he's rocked up, ready to rock and roll. It's just a matter of climbing that passing hierarchy. Because even when Godwin does come back, even if it's 75%, he's still going to have his role. He was paid. He's Baker's guy. There was arguably only a handful of receivers that were more valuable than Godwin when he was on the field last year. So I think we're excited for the potential with Egbuka. I'm certainly have been excited about the prospect. Now it's time to let the role marinate, and then we can get really excited about Egbuka.
He brought up Mike Evans as well. Said he had a couple of uncharacteristic drops, multiple uncharacteristic drops for Evans. But I'm not going to write anything into that because it's Mike Evans still. As long as he's healthy and on the field, he get targeted. The Bucky Irving Rashad White thing. Where do you sit on that? The split.
I think we see a lot of what we saw last year. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Rashad White was a valuable member in the passing game last year. Bucky Irvin was used a ton, but I think people that are more numbers than football, listeners out there, they need a little cold splash of water in the face. Bucky Irvin didn't eat a Mario mushroom. He didn't grow 3 inches and gain 25 pounds. He's 5'9", $195. Give him 200 pounds if he's soaking wet. They're going to have to manage these touches. They're not going to want to rock him, run him through the middle, give him all the touches up the gut, give him all the passing down work. They want him to remain the jitterbug, let him be the explosive playmaker that he was. So why not use Rashad White where Rashad White can be good? Rashad White might not be as explosive as Bucky Irving, but he's 6 feet, 215 pounds. He can, shoulder that load. He can take some of those carries. And he's been a super productive player in the NFL. Those guys, when they prove themselves at the NFL level, they don't typically just get discarded, especially with the 3rd round draft capital. So I'm thinking we see a lot of the same, where last year, by the season's end, Rashad White was getting about a 55% snap share, but that was elevated because of earlier parts of the season. But the opportunity share at 41%, I think that's kind of what we can really kind of put in the bag for Rashad White. Give him the 40%, give Bucky Irvin the 60%, or maybe 55, 40, and then 5% goes to Sean Tucker must die. There's all these scenarios in which these guys get the workload, but I think to optimize each player, they all need to have roles in the offense. So I don't think we're seeing Bucky Irving, I don't think we see Devon Achane touches out of Bucky Irving in 2025.
Speaking of Devon Achane, Tyreek Hill had some choice words for Devon Achane. Did you hear this?
Tell our listeners, because I don't know what you're talking about, so I want to hear it for the first time like they do.
Tyreek said in a little press available, I can't believe they give Tyreek a press availability. He just doesn't seem like he's the most coached up media speaking player.
Tyreek Hill is batting 0 in terms of having a good impression at the podium.
They go, Tyreek standing. He's like, what's up? Like, he's just like bopping around looking at who's asking the question, right? And the guy goes, what do you think they should do on what you guys should do on 3rd and short to get better this year? He goes, I think we got to take Devon out the game. I was like, wait, what? He goes, why? He's like, listen. He goes, listen, I love Devon, but he ain't a power back. We got to take him out the game. That's why you got Jalen Wright. That's why you got Ollie Gordon.
That's why you got Ollie Gordon, yeah.
I was like, All right. Well, thank you for that because I appreciate that because that tells me first off, a lot of people are going to say we already knew that Alexander Madison was a zero. All right. Well, Alexander Madison's still there. Like
Yeah.
so, him telling us that Jalen Wright and Ollie Gordon, Jalen Wright being the first name out of his mouth, kind of tells me the hierarchy right now without even having to be there. Um, and then I think Devon Achane like tweeted back and he's like, I know how you feel. I see how you feel, or something like that. But it's like it makes sense. That's how you keep a guy like Devon Achane healthy. He's not
Of
a 3 down
course.
back. He's a 2 down back, and you need to have a Jalen Wright, even to a more extent, I would say Ollie Gordon for those 3rd and 2s because Ollie Gordon can definitely pick up 2. So I don't know. I thought that
Oh
was
yeah.
very interesting that they even put him up there on the stage, and he's like just going after his boy.
I'll say this about Ollie Gordon though. I am hearing enough out of Dolphins camp that get me to the point where I'm gonna have a lot of shares of Ollie Gordon, even in redraft at the end of my drafts. This guy was a mega producer just 2 years ago at Oklahoma State. If he gets a chance to be Jeff Wilson in this offense, in this Mike McDaniel's constructed offense, he's going to be unbelievable.
So I mean, that's a good. I think it's a good bet. I
I'm
think that's a
hoping
good.
so. I don't. You also know I love Jalen Wright, but you can't give me exactly diddly squat in the opportunities you got as a rookie and expect that to not be kind of looked at with a little bit of skepticism. So I think if we're talking it by Christmas and you're like Ollie Gordon is getting the touches with Devon Achane sideline over Jalen Wright, you won't see me shocked one iota.
So you would say, let's see here. You would say in the hierarchy of running backs, like of all these backups, right? In drafts, we'll get back to training camp stuff here in just a second. But on the side of this, in drafts this year, as far as like ADP goes and drafting these guys to get values and where they're going off, I mean, you're talking about like a 20th round before Ollie Gordon would potentially come off the board currently. He'll move up, I think, through the camp. I mean, you got names going ahead of him right now, like Phil Moffa, Brashard Smith, Taj Brooks, Jarquez Hunter, Will Shipley, Miles Sanders, Justice Hill, Blake Corum, Kareem Hunt, Rico Dowdle, up to Ray Davis. Would you put him ahead of the Ray Davis? Like in terms of like maybe not just like where you put him right now, but like where would you put him in a projecting mindset? Would it be ahead of the Ray Davis? Would it be ahead of an Algier? Obviously, it sounds like ahead of a Jalen Wright, a Braylon Allen. Like, are we getting up to the Dylan Sampson, Jerome Ford place, the Bashal Tootin area? Like, where's kind of your thoughts where you would feel good about having him or projecting him in a draft? Because he'll
So
last anyways, but
yeah, no, we're talking about pick at the end of everyone's draft, we're going to be
yeah,
all riddled with the decision between one of maybe 6, 7, 8 running backs. And where do you want to put your stake? Where do you want to put your flag? When it comes to Ollie Gordon, I'm not going as high as Sampson, Tootin, Jerome Ford, because I think those guys have roles
yeah.
off the bat. I don't know if Ollie Gordon has much of a role early, so he's just behind the Braylon Allen probably step for me too. But I think that's kind of where he starts settling in. So it's like Braylon, Ray Davis, and then we'll put that in. Then he's going to fit like right in that range because, it's not going to take a lot for him to have production.
I think that's right. I think that's right. The problem I also have is this. I think this offensive line stinks. I think this offensive line has problems. We put our rankings up over at rosterwatch.com. These are not just looking at the names, ranking the names. This is a proprietary process with a lot of grades that go into the process. Everybody knows Houston and New England have pretty hogwash offensive lines on paper, and Miami is right there next to New England, Jacksonville. Houston's kind of in a league of their own at the bottom. Seattle, Miami's right there in that group as we head towards, obviously in the middle of training camp. We don't have we have what we think is going to be the starting fives, but things have started to change a little bit anyway. But Miami, nonetheless, is a bottom 5 offensive line, which does worry me for just the volatility of the entire offense, not just the running game, but also the ever conversed Tua Tagovailoa situation.
Oh, absolutely.
Any other players you want to talk about?
So I kind of want to touch on the the Patriots. So they had their blue, white, red, white, and blue, whatever it is, their big their inter squad game. And Drake May did not play all that well. He did not play well. He threw a pick, did throw a touchdown, but it was on a trick play. And it was just, I want to bring them up, not just because I live up here. And of course, I'm close to the situation, not the situation, but that's my hometown team. But I want to bring it up because there's a lot of fantasy implications in the baked into the New England offense. Drake May is, a late round darling for quarterback in 1 QB, massive value right now in terms of our Superflex dynasty rosters. Kyle Williams is a late sleeper. Stephon Diggs, we all love Travion Henderson. There's a lot there. So I just, with Drake May struggling in that game, I think it says two things to me early. One, this defense will be for real. The Patriots defense is going to be good. It's going to keep them in games. I am starting to get a little bit of an opinion. I'm not quite there yet, that Drake May isn't necessarily the upside play late in drafts, because I'm starting to think that he could be held back a little bit. There's a lot of reports that they're not having him run the ball often. They want to make sure he's a passer first. But the way you think of a Josh McDaniels constructed offense mixed in with a Mike Vrabel-led team, I think we're going to see a lot of rushes, a lot of short area stuff, a lot of controlling the game, which I think minimizes the upside of Drake May in year 2.
The Drake May thing is interesting. I think I love everything you just said because I've looked at Drake May in those situations late in drafts. The problem is when you get to like round 11, 12, 13 right now, and I specialize in the half and standard sheet of our roster watch. I know Alex does PPR and Superflex, but in half and standard by itself, like the 11th, 12th, 13th round, you're predominantly like, okay, you're getting your head peaked up at like Brock Purdy, Goff, Dak, Herbert, Caleb Williams, McCarthy. Now, as a pure talent, I think I prefer Drake over, to be honest with you, what we've seen
Right.
through a year. I prefer Drake over JJ and Caleb today. But given the talent that those two guys have and the offensive coordinator that those two guys have, and the I can't say weather for Caleb, but weather for JJ in Minnesota, like those two guys, for me, have to be ahead of him. And it kind of just puts Drake in a situation where if you're not in this like ultra deep, like 22 round draft, you really don't have to take Drake because he's so far down. And once you do get to that conversation of Drake May or Jordan Love, then you're like, well, I could just wait another round for Tua or Michael Penix or Matthew Stafford. And then you're like, oh, well, what about Cam Ward? Like, I think he's just in such a weird spot for fantasy football that he's not my cup of tea this year, I guess you'd say. Because it's like, and I have nothing wrong with, I actually love Kayshon Boutte. You know that. You love Stephon Diggs. I've loved Stephon Diggs. Think Hunter Henry's going to be good. Think this backfield should be good. New England's offensive line, I think, can improve. It's not going to be great. But they're also in the AFC East. And really the only team I would say that's going to, a healthy Miami could push him a couple games, could score some points. Probably not when they come to New England. Buffalo, that game, we know it's a 17-14 thing on paper every time, every game. It's just like that feels like we know what Vrabel's going to do in this offense. He's not going to say, hey, Drake, this week you're throwing 53 attempts. Like that's not going to be the goal. The goal is not going to have him go out there and throw the ball 53 times to Boutte and Diggs and Kyle Williams and Bourne and all these dudes. Like it's just in DeMario. Like I just don't think that's the plan. Where I could honestly see that be in the plans for a Caleb, for a JJ, of course, a Dak, a Goff, like Tua, like
even Trevor Lawrence. You could even see with Lawrence.
There you go.
Let's put a pin on this real quick. So I want to give 2 points of reference to this McDaniels Vrabel offense through Drake May. Vrabel's best coaching year with a quarterback in Tennessee was in 2020. So COVID year, weird year, but that was Tannehill. That's where Tannehill was 22 points a game, QB 9 on a points per game basis. He threw for 3,800 yards. He had a 266 rushing yards, 40 total touchdowns. He was QB 9. I think that is as far outlier as you can
40?
find in a 40 total. He had 33 passing and 7 rushing.
Gosh.
So, and he was QB 9. So I think that's not even the ceiling of Drake May this year. That is Drake May popping 25% through his ceiling for Drake May. These are the numbers I think that are going to be most representative for Drake May in this offense this year. It's last year's Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert had his highest yards per attempt, had his career high in rushing yards with 306, 25 total touchdowns. He was only QB 14 on a points per game basis, only scored 17 points a game. He was not a QB1 in our 1 QB leagues. And the reason for that is pass attempts. 504 pass attempts for Justin Herbert. That is significantly lower than when he was going berserk mode in 21 and 22, where he had 672, 699 in those years, respectively. 504. I mean, massive drop off, almost 200 attempts lower in that offense, and they were better. The team was better. He was better. Like I said, most rushing yards, most yards per attempt, but they kept it in check. They won through defense and won through controlling the football. That will be the blueprint of the Patriots. And last night's scrimmage game was the point that I needed to see, the thing I needed to see to completely sour on Drake May in year 2 as a fantasy asset. I still love him as my franchise quarterback. And I think he has a very good NFL season. But fantasy production, I think we're going to look at that ceiling as QB 14 on a points per game basis. Maybe he, again, stretches through that ceiling a little bit and he could push top 10. But it took Ryan Tannehill 40 total touchdowns to get it. Do you see that with Drake May? I don't. I like what I'm seeing as a player. He's killing it in camp. But don't let the no interceptions in camp. Don't let all that stuff fool you in terms of a fantasy sense. The reason why he's being so careful with the ball and not turning it over is because that's what they want. That's what they want out of him.
The goal isn't to score fantasy points, right? It's to
win football
games. And I mean, you can scroll back through Brady's career too. Brady was not always a top 5 guy. He had a number of seasons where he even threw for 4,000 yards into the 30s for touchdowns, and he's QB 16, 14, 11, 18. Like he's all 16, 10. He's all over the board from a fantasy points per game perspective. So the goal up in New England has never been to score fantasy points. It's always been to put rings on fingers. And you know that better than I do, obviously.
Factually correct.
One more nugget I got. This will be my last one. I'll go to Jacksonville. You brought up Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. This is a report from John Shipley, one of the best beats down there in Jacksonville. He said it's pretty clear how the Jags view the running back depth chart based on totality of camp so far and then scrimmage. Tank Bigsby opened the scrimmage with the starting offense and had several carries, including a 10-yard gain on the first carry. He also got a red zone handoff. On the second and third drives of the starting offense, Travis Etienne stepped in. Etienne did not get a touch on the second drive. On the third drive, he had a carry go for 0 yards and then was the target on a screen that Trevor Lawrence had to put in the dirt. He then got a red zone carry to get the ball to the 3-yard line before being stuffed by Jack Kaiser from Notre Dame on his next carry. It looks more and more like Bigsby's chance to entrench himself as the number 1 running back in Jacksonville. I thought, hey, we're going to get a healthy Travis Etienne. We got one more shot. Sounds like a healthy Travis Etienne might still not be the answer.
This backfield is a clear avoid in fantasy for me. Fine. You want to call Tank Bigsby number 1? Bet. I love it for you. Enjoy your 38%, snap share behind a 30% snap share behind a that's what we're going to see. We're going to see at least 2 of these 3 guys get utilized. And if Tutin can explode on the seed and kind of really make a name for himself later on in camp, maybe through the preseason, he's not going to go away. I don't think he's going to get a lot of touches. I don't think we're going to really enjoy his fantasy production as a rookie. But they're going to run this offense like Cohen did in Tampa. And last year it worked for multiple guys because they were good. Will Bigsby and Etienne be able to be good and electric on sharing the rock? Because they're going to share the rock. They're going to be on the field a ton. You're going to hear the phrase that we all quiver at, hot hand. When it's week 4, who do I start, Bigsby or Etienne? You're going to hear Liam Cohen say to you guys, I'm going to stick with the hot hand because, again, Cody, this is the biggest piece of the puzzle. Like, routinely gets missed when we're playing about fantasy. We're looking for fantasy points. These teams are looking for dubs. They don't care how they get them. They don't care what they do. Cohen's also going to throw this ball 5 million times. With the weapons that they have in the passing game, it's going to be electric. So, sure, I can buy Tank Bigsby is the number one. But by how many? What's his snap share look like? Is he going to lead the backfield with 43%?
I mean, where he's going off right now is, I mean, I brought it up. He's right there, like Benson, Garendo, Tootin. I can't believe Tootin's getting drafted so high. Tootin,
That's crazy.
That's just broken. Jerome Ford, Dylan Sampson, Braylon Allen. Like, he's in an area where, like, with Nick Chubb, like, I think Nick Chubb right now in the 10th, 11th round is the dumbest value in fantasy football because what we've been told with Joe Mixon, like Chubb, for every reason, for the reason that we believed that Joe Mixon was toasty last year and then he comes out and has the year he had, we should equally be saying, all right, well, Chubb is another year removed, right, from his injury. So why can't Chubb do that? Like, why can't, if we're going to give Chubb the whole fall camp to get, dialed in with this offense, and this offensive line is not that great, but what do you always hear about an offensive line that isn't that great as a piece of unit? The best way to get there starts with the run game. It always starts with the run game on the offensive line. And when you got a guy like Nick Chubb behind you, it makes, I think, blocking for the run a little bit easier. So
that's right.
I don't know. I think Nick Chubb in the 10th, 11th is great. And then Bigsby around later, like those are good values.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a value now, but that's going to go.
But the Bigsby thing, like you said, it's like, do you want to take a Bigsby there right next to Dylan Sampson, right next to Braylon Allen, right next to Tyler Algier? What do all those guys have in common? They're sitting in situations where the end all be all could completely explode and they could be entrenched as the solo dolo if things happen down the road. That's what 13th, 14th, 15th round running backs are for, receivers are for. It's not for, well, this guy's probably the starter. I just want to have a starter on my team. I just want to get tanked. I want to have a starter on my roster because, bye weeks happen, and I just want to be able to have the Jacksonville starter. Like, they said he's going to be the starter. Like, you can't fall for that. That's the misstep. So that's what I would say. I would say even though it sounds good on on paper, it sounds good on shows to say, oh, take tank, take tank. Don't do it. Don't take tank in the 13th round.
Yeah, I don't mind taking him late because he's going to get a dart throw among a bunch of dart throws. But before we leave Jacksonville, I got to say, they're going to let this kid be special. They're going to let Travis Hunter be a unicorn. They're going to do the Shohei Ohtani thing. They're going to say, screw it, let's give him a shot. I saw a breakdown of the snaps on both sides of the ball. It's as close to 50-50 as you can get. They're letting this kid cook. In the scrimmage game last night, 17 plays on offense, 21 on defense, 3 for 43. They're going to let this kid play. He's been on the field. I think the number I saw, 38% of total snaps taken at practice and camp so far. Unreal, and I love it. Let the kid be special. You didn't give all that up to not let the kid be a unicorn.
Gladstone's got like a 100% hit right now on Coach Speak.
Yeah, he is a Coach Speak darling right now. Maybe his favorite.
Is there anybody else you want to hit on? Are we going to
No. I mean, that's pretty much everything. I mean, it was a relatively slow day. Of course, the Micah Parsons stuff is going to get hot over the weekend. I don't think anything happens, but I think Dallas just screwed themselves over to let it get this far. He's been so vocal for so long. They could have put this all to rest long ago, because now if he does hit free agency, he ain't signing. He's going to the tiebreaker will be someone who's not the Cowboys.
So if I, proverbial gun to the head, it said pick a spot, pick what happens. You saying he just plays the season out?
Dallas, yeah. I think it's Dallas.
So the biggest contracts, Bosa got a 5-year 170. Myles Garrett got that 4-year 160. I'm sure he's looking for that 4-year 165 or 4-year 170. All right, such a thought. You think plays the season out, goes to and then enters free agency.
Yep. I think that at this point, like they'd have to come super correct to make it
They'll be able
happen.
to tag him.
They'll be no, they can keep him around, but to extend them, they're gonna have to come beyond correct. They're gonna have to bend the knee. And does Jarrah want to do that? Jarrah doesn't usually do that, so I don't think he does. And the team, I think, convinces Micah to play because this team is capable of winning a lot of football games. And I don't think he goes anywhere. And then I think they do this whole dance through into free agency. They think we're the Cowboys, we'll get him, and he's gonna put up the two birds and go play for the Skins or something, or watch the football team or whatever.
Hell yeah, the Skins, baby, the Skins. I'll go up the
Maybe
road.
maybe they'll be back.
Pittsburgh.
Who knows?
I'll take Pittsburgh. I'll take Pittsburgh. You probably get like I don't even know what the odds are. You probably get like plus 800 odds on Pittsburgh. I'll take Pittsburgh. They gotta
TJ and Micah. Oof.
just ship the picks, like Khalil Mack type deal. Ship the picks
Ship them, baby.
and
FedEx those bitches.
give Mike T. I mean, they got they got hellacious edge already. They don't need Micah, to be honest with you. But who doesn't want a fourth freaking marauder coming off the edge? Who doesn't want that?
Right. I mean the
TJ, Micah, Alex Highsmith, and Nick Herbig with Casey Hayward still on the inside with Keanu Benton. That is a disgusting defensive line.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Click that like button. Click subscribe. We'll be back later this week.
Peace.